This episode of Destructoid is brought to you by HostGator. Coming up on Destructoid, Nintendo explains why Pikmin won't feature online multiplayer, the new Tomb Raider is already getting controversial, and your Xbox avatar takes an arrow to the knee. No, seriously, that's a thing. All this and more coming up on Destructoid. Welcome to Destructoid. I am Max Scoville.
And I'm Anthony Carboni. Tara Long stole a life-size claptrap from the Borderlands booth at E3 and has left the country with it. Updates as we get them.
Full story at 11. But yeah, Anthony, thank you for sitting in. Tara's on vacation right now.
In Mexico.
That's a nice way of putting it, but you know, you're here, which means that we're doing the news together.
Yeah.
I hope we can do this. It's been a while. We were at E3. Let's get into oh, good lord. Okay, before we get into today's news, we should probably mention that Indie Game the Movie has finally been released. You can purchase it DRM free on indiegamethemovie.com, or you can go buy it on Steam. It is only $10 American, and it is filled with a bunch of friends like Phil Fish here, Jonathan Holmes, and even Anthony, this man who is next to me. He's in it. Tara Long's actually in it. She's in a YouTube thumbnail in the film somewhere.
I can tell them from experience that works. Tara Long in a YouTube thumbnail.
Yeah, that makes people watch your things. This episode's going to have horrible views. Anyway, so there's that. If you even have a remote interest in video games or the creative process, you should go watch the movie.
Yeah,
because it's an indie game.
First movie on Steam.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so back before E3, we told you guys about how Bethesda would be holding a beta for their upcoming Skyrim DLC, Dawnguard, which is said to be coming to Xbox 360 later this month. And the word on the street is that those beta invites have been sent out. I got a chance to check out Dawnguard at E3, and it certainly seems promising. Players are given the choice of joining up with a coven of vampires or becoming a member of the Dawnguard, which is a group of vampire hunters. Whichever faction you choose, you wind up exploring the Soul Cairn, which is a plane of oblivion that really just looks like a haunted graveyard full of purple glow-in-the-dark skeletons. The skeletons actually don't glow in the dark, the sky does. But that's it, the Soul Cairn right there. Very festive. If you pick the vampire side of things, you get the ability to turn into a vampire lord, which allows a handful of new skills, such as vampire force chokes, or turning into a flock of bats and flying at people, and they get scared because you might go in their hair. There are also crossbows, which are, you know, like guns that shoot arrows. Now, it's no secret that Bethesda's games have a shoddy track record when it comes to the finished products being full of bugs and things like that, so rolling out a beta beforehand really isn't a terrible idea. And while we're on the subject of Elder Scrolls downloadable things, it was recently announced that a new avatar prop has been released on the Xbox Live Marketplace. It is an official Skyrim arrow to the knee. Yep, that's right, folks. This is, of course, a reference to the NPC line, "I was an adventurer too until I took an arrow to the knee," which, you know, spread like wildfire across the comment sections of YouTube videos and other terrible internet forums. Yeah, so, you know, considering that 4 or 5 of the biggest games shown at E3 this year featured bow and arrow combat, I have a really horrible feeling that we haven't seen the end of this meme.
It's on its second wind.
We've
stricken it down, it only rises up stronger.
Yeah, in any case.
Like a vampire lord.
Okay, that was a good attempt at tying.
See the way I did it?
But yeah. If you guys want to waste 240 Microsoft points, be my guest. It's on the marketplace there. So get a pretend arrow in your avatar's knee.
Yeah, so one of the biggest stories of E3 was obviously the Wii U. Nintendo had no fewer than 90 press conferences last week, and although the new console will be their most connected machine yet, we didn't learn a whole lot about what online multiplayer will look like. Well, we've now learned that Pikmin's online multiplayer will look like nothing. It will look like nothing, because it will not exist. In an interview with IGN, Shigeru Miyamoto confirmed that Pikmin 3 will not have online multiplayer, which kinda sucks, but is totally fine, because not every game needs online, right? Right? What's troubling is the reason he gave. He said, in the situation of Pikmin, you would have lots of individual small creatures, the Pikmin, makes sense, whose every movement and location is going to be very important in the game, so it would be difficult to sync up over an internet connection. So no online multiplayer for Pikmin 3, but the co-op local multiplayer is really fun. Yep, just too complicated to pull that off. Tell the esports community to shut down because they have been living a lie for the last decade. You know, it's okay to admit that you don't quite know how to do it, Nintendo. Just ask for help. Help us help you. In other news, Miyamoto confirmed to IGN that they're already thinking about the future generation of handhelds. Interestingly, he went on to say that, "I'm satisfied with the 3DS hardware as it is. I feel like it's the best for this generation," insinuating that there will not be a thinner 3DS or a new revision with a second circle pad. I got mixed feelings on this because on one hand, at least 3DS owners know that they won't have to worry about upgrading, but on the other, I would love for dual analog to control to become sort of a standard on 3DS games, and the Circle Pad Pro just isn't gonna make that happen. I don't know, what do you guys think? You know, while we're on Nintendo, what questions do you guys still have about the Wii U? We're getting some extended hands-on time with it next week, so leave your questions and concerns in the comments. I'm sure there are tons.
Yeah.
Based on, I mean, they showed a whole lot of stuff, but it didn't really add up to a lot of information.
Hey, what's your friend code? Because I want to add you on there.
Oh,
Do you know those 12 digits off the top of your head? Or?
Yeah, I have it written on my hand and in a card in my wallet. Because that's what you need.
Oh, Nintendo. Too hard to do those online internet things.
Yeah, it's really, people aren't online.
Must be tough
you can't
with those,
put games there.
Those AOL parental controls. Anyway, one game that got unveiled at E3 was the much anticipated new Star Wars title, Star Wars 1313. There was a lot of early buzz about it and some wishful thinking turned into rampant speculation. I'm one of the guilty parties here. That 1313 was one of Boba Fett's code names.
What?
Yeah. It turns out the name actually refers to one of the lower levels of the galactic capital planet Coruscant, and the game's player character will be a bounty hunter tasked with investigating the criminal underworld that lives there. Spike TV debuted a gameplay demo that gives us a sense of how the game is going to look. Graphically and visually, it is gorgeous, it is lovely, and it's even more impressive when you consider that it is running on a heavily tweaked Unreal Engine 3. In terms of gameplay, it looks like a pretty standard cover-based shooter with some climbing elements, so basically Uncharted with Star Wars. Apparently it's gunning for an M rating, which is pretty revolutionary for, you know, Star Wars, because they don't usually do that. Now, one thing that's worth noting is that the main character shown in this demo is allegedly a placeholder character and is only being used to show off the game. This comes as a relief. I just think the dude's kind of forgettable, but I think it's pretty backwards. That's like showing an early trailer for a movie in which the star is replaced with an extra. Not really the best way to sell it. Now, the game's creative director, Dominic Robillard, explained that the Star Wars game will not focus on Jedi stuff. There will be no Force powers or lightsabers. This isn't because it's played out. It is, but because the setting of the game is more grounded. I'm totally okay with this. I think I am kind of, I don't think I'm alone here when I say that some of the best Star Wars games were ones in which you were just a normal dude. Like Dark Forces, Shadows of the Empire, awesome games, no lightsabers. You just kind of do your thing. What worries me about Star Wars 1313 is that in an attempt to be gritty and dark and more appealing as a modern action game, it'll lose all of the Star Wars charm. Exploring the criminal underworld sounds great, but the limited gameplay has concerned me more than it's impressed me. Show me some Rhodians and some Gamorreans, you know, show me seedy nightclubs and Huddy's audience chambers, not just metal hallways and explosions and crates. I mean, so far Prey 2 is looking like a better Star Wars game than 1313 is. That being said, 1313 is the most appealing thing I've seen from LucasArts in a while. It's not really saying a whole lot, and I really hope it delivers, but you know, I'd really, you know, be more excited to hear about new, updated, and enhanced versions of old Star Wars games, which ironically is the exact opposite of, you know, what I want George Lucas to do with the movies. So, there you go.
Yeah, I don't know, I just don't get why I would do a Star Wars game if it's just gonna look like every other sci-fi
It looks like
game.
Mass Effect.
It does.
It looks like Mass Effect Uncharted.
I mean, it's still early, but I'm with you. I would like them to put a little bit more of that character in there. If you guys have been paying attention to video game culture lately, you are probably aware that the sexism and gender issues have been a big topic of discussion as of late. Hitman Absolution ruffled some feathers with its trailer about spine-punching some sex nuns, and shortly afterwards, footage of the new Tomb Raider reboot was showed off, in which a bedraggled Lara Croft had the crap kicked out of her by pretty much everything around her. Like, there were dudes, and then there were wolves, and then she got beat up by a bunch of sticks.
Yeah, those tree branches, man.
A rock destroyed her. Anyway, in a recent interview with Kotaku, executive producer Ron Rosenberg addressed the issue of this new, seemingly more fragile, less sexy Lara Croft. And he proceeded to put his foot in his mouth maybe a little bit. Apparently in the new game, scavengers will kidnap Lara's best friend, chase Lara, and try to rape her. Rosenberg went on to add, she has literally turned into a cornered animal. It's a huge step in her evolution. She's forced to either fight back or die. And when you see her have to face these challenges, you start to root for her in a way that you might not root for a male character. He also said a lot about wanting to protect her. And now, as you might expect, these quotes have thrown several corners of the internet into inferno-level flame wars, and everyone seems to be simultaneously offended for various reasons, including people who just want to enjoy a video game without it having to be the subject of a major controversy. Blah.
Yeah.
Just blah.
But no, Anthony, it's very deep and complex in the character analysis.
I'm like, I have to say, I saw 20 minutes of Tomb Raider at E3, and she gets beaten up a lot. She mutters to herself about how she's worried that she's just like not strong enough to do this, and like, I really wish that they could think up a way to kind of get their audience behind a female character than to kind of just worm into some weird Neanderthalistic protection issues or something like that. It's just strange to me.
It seems like it's trying too hard in a lot of weird ways, you know?
It really is.
Yeah.
You know, between that and then there was the Kickstarter this week for Feminist Frequency, where she was just like, I want to make a video that kind of addresses the issue of female game characters, and everybody's like, oh, you're a whore and I hope you get cancer. What is going on?
I like the internet.
What is going on? And meanwhile, Lollipop Chainsaw comes out.
Oh, hey.
Same week.
Let's talk to that.
One of these things is not like the other.
You reviewed that.
I did.
We're going to talk about that after a quick break and a word from our sponsor.
Sure.
HostGator can get your blog or website up and running in just minutes with plans starting at only $3.96 a month. You get 24/7 support and access to website building tools with over 4,000 templates. They will even migrate your current site for free. And did I mention that their servers are 130% powered by wind energy? I don't know how that works, but it does, and it's magic. Even better, HostGator is offering all you lovely Revision 3 viewers 25% off your order or your first month free. Just go to HostGator.com and enter the code Destructoid at checkout today. And back to the show. Now, like you were saying, the biggest release of the week is the very, what's a nice way of saying exploitation?
Nicely exploited.
Yes, Lollipop Chainsaw. It is the candy-coated grindhouse hack and slash from Suda51 and James Gunn. And we've been talking about it for months. I still haven't actually sat down with the finished game.
Okay.
I did a few little demos earlier on, but you know, yesterday on Destructoid.com, Jim Sterling put up his review where he gave it a 9 out of 10, saying that while it's obviously a third-person beat-em-up, it felt like a cross between Crazy Taxi and House of the Dead. Apart from gripes with the game's camera and Juliet's inability to defend herself at times, he praised the game's combo system and style, calling it one of the most fun games I've had the privilege to play. Now, Anthony, you are doing your video review for Rev3 Games. Tell me things about it now, please.
I think his phrasing "Crazy Taxi meets House of the Dead" is pretty on point. It's got this like very 90s over-the-top Sega arcadey vibe to it. While at the same time, obviously, you've got James Gunn writing it. You've got kind of these like action zombie elements to it. It's fun. It's super Suda51. So I mean, if you're familiar with Suda51's games, you already know what to expect. But I think he's done a really good job of focusing on gameplay this time around. Where like, as you know, before, like in things like No More Heroes, the game and its world were very interesting, but sometimes you had to ride that motorcycle around or play a mountain of mini games, and it just kind of killed the entire momentum of the game. And I feel like he's gotten a lot better at just being like, no, this needs to be a game, this needs to play quickly, and it needs to play well. And unfortunately, he kind of toned down just a touch of the character stuff in the process. And the humor seems maybe a little forced. I don't know if that's Gunn's kind of adaptation of it, or that I'm just used to Suda just being so completely off the rails. But it was good. It was a solid game. I don't know if I'd give it a 9 out of 10. Actually, I know I wouldn't give it a 9 out of 10 because I gave it a 7 out of 10.
You gave it a 7 out of 10?
Yeah.
I thought you used a 5 scale.
No, 5 scale's so out.
I don't know how they rate games. I don't give them scores. But yeah, no, it looks cool. The bits and pieces I've seen, humor-wise, seem sort of forced. You know, like there's the.
It can be.
It's like the weird kind of. It's like the Japanese spin on grindhouse stuff with sort of a like goofball like spin on top of that.
Yeah.
So it's sort of all over the place, you know.
It's very like Buffy meets Machine Girl.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it is.
That's weird. But yeah, no, people seem to be liking it. That's cool. Like I said before, Jim Sterling's big, eloquent, written with words review is over on Destructoid.com. And Anthony, your full video review is going to be going up on Rev3 Games. Is that correct?
Yeah, should be up
very
today,
soon.
this
Excellent.
evening.
That is on youtube.com/rev3games. And while we are plugging shit, we did so many videos at E3.
My God.
We did like 60 video segments.
All of the videos.
Yeah, most of them are edited online, so if you missed them from the last week for some reason, go and watch them on this channel, that's the Dtoid one, and over on youtube.com/rev3games. There's actually a playlist. There will be a link in the video right now that you can click on. And just sit back and enjoy. You know, we had fun. Oh, good God. Look at the toys.
That's what you look like having fun.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
We got toys. We got to have toys. That was a fun thing.
We got Skillenders.
Of course, there's also there's one day left to win that sick Astro Scout backpack, and that's over on Rev3 Games. We're giving that away. It's a backpack. All you have to do is subscribe to that channel and to comment on the golden ticket video. It's a hidden video in which we say, comment on this video and you win a backpack. You have to watch the videos to find it. I'll give you a hint though. It involves toys, so maybe one of the videos has toys in it. What could it be? Now go do that. We will announce 3 random winners very soon.
Yep, and Tara's out until next week, so Max and I will be back on Friday with one of those live shows that gives you an excuse to drink during the day. We don't make excuses anymore. We have fallen that far down into the pit of despair. That'll be at 3:30 Pacific time on Friday, right here on youtube.com/Dtoid.
Until then, you can follow us on Twitter. I'm Max Scoville. He is A Carboni. And for everything show related, you can follow Dtoid Show. And we will see you guys on Friday. Have a lovely evening.
Video games and women in video games.